Myoho Renge Kyo. Namo Myoho Renge Kyo, Namo Myoho Renge Kyo, Namo Myoho Renge Kyo. Hi, how are you doing this morning? I hope you're in good health, good circumstance. Right off the bat, thank you for your practice, for your constant striving, and with confidence and determination instantiating your Buddhahood. Yeah. I know it's not always easy. I know sometimes it just seems like you're treading water. I just did a video recently on that. And I've done a video a long time ago, a couple of years, called Buddhist Burnout. So I've talked about it several times on this channel. It happens to all of us. That's just life. Getting beyond it, getting past it, getting through it, getting stronger by it. These are all our potential manifesting, yeah? If we keep our Buddhahood alive and aware 24/7, we never run into those obstacles because they're just distraction. They're the monkey mind going, I just want to eat a banana, right? There is probably a handful of subjects in the world that bring up such myriad feelings amongst every individual, and not just different people thinking about it differently, but you, me, anybody has feelings changing day to day about what the word parent means. First of all, it's one of those words that, the English language seems to be so occupied with minutia. We talk about grams, micrograms, nanograms, right? We talk about, even the language has words like the, it, those. We break things down to minutia. And then occasionally we have these words like love or parent or so many words that are just huge concepts, right? You can come to them from many, many different perspectives, aspects, angles. Parent. Is it your parent? Are you the parent? Who's the parent of your parent? Is parent a hierarchical thing? Or is parent a genealogical thing? Or is parent a verb? Is it a noun, a verb, an adverb? Is it a pronoun? Right? Parent is all over the place. And in Buddhist literature, whether it's Nichiren or Shakyamuni, we learn the terms parent, teacher, sovereign. All of those words are conceptual like that. So today we're going to talk a little bit about the word parent. And we're going to talk about different sides of it. But at the end of this little discussion, hopefully we'll have a better idea what the word parent means to us in the context of Buddhist study. Yeah? Parent, teacher, sovereign. From the Elephant Journal, when we enter into the responsibilities of parenthood, we welcome another sentient being into our mind stream and open our mandala of practice to a fledgling life. Ooh, a nice little word salad. What the hell does that mean? 2, this is no small responsibility, no momentary hefting of weight to be placed down later. Okay, so parenting has responsibility. Boy, this Elephant Journal. We shoulder the burden of teaching. That's interesting. This emerging mind, how to interact with it and be prepared for this world, this life of samsara, this life of fleeting joy and momentary happiness. Well, they should also include momentary distress and anxiety, right? But, okay, that third description, all right, Elephant Journal, that's closer to, I think, what we mean. And the fourth, this life of parent and teacher is a difficult one. Unlike a classroom or lecture hall, there is no bell that rings to end the session. No rush of students out of your room and out of your life for the night. In parenting, there is a set of eyes constantly gazing upon you and absorbing everything that you do. You don't teach the student by PowerPoint presentation and bullet points or through allegory and metaphor. How interesting to make such a statement when, in fact, it is using allegory and metaphor. And all of Buddhist teaching does. So, kind of a contradiction there. But the point is valid, right? When you take on, right? And it depends on how you were exposed to Buddhism, Nichiren especially. This idea that we have inculcated, not from Buddhism, but cultures and societies all over the world. We have this idea that if I give you a clue or an answer, then you have it. Now you run with it, right? It's kind of like a relay race. And once you're done handing it over, go to lunch, have some apple pie. Not so in Buddhism, because in Buddhism, our commitment is not based on time. Our Buddhism, our activity of assisting another life, another mind, is based on the engine of life, which is moment to moment to moment, ongoing. So when you make a commitment to help somebody, understand the level of commitment that you are making. Take responsibility. It's so easy to misunderstand these words. What I mean by taking responsibility isn't that, oh, now it's on you. No, what I mean is that before you spill some platitude out of your mouth to kind of end your point and walk away, that's going to linger. So the onus is on you to choose your words with care. You don't want to spend all of your time backing out of what you've told somebody. At the same time, there are those who are learning, who will challenge everything you say because that's the way they learn. I've been that person at times. Okay, when you say that, do you mean this or do you mean that? And that can be very tiring. This is why it is so important that you chant every day, that you solidify your base, yes, your bodhisattva path, with your Buddha mind right there, ready, that you know this with confidence inside and out, so that anything of a question, of a curiosity that's thrown at you isn't about you. That's the first thing. We are socially conditioned to think that everything is a freaking accusation. Turn that around. It's a question from somebody who, with their own rhetoric, undeveloped, is trying to figure this out. It's not about you, right? Where does enlightenment come from? Right? You're offering a path and clues and insights. But your student is struggling with what the hell? To them, their own way, an experience you don't have. So when they ask questions, they're asking questions really of themselves. They just want your guidance. It isn't about you. Stop taking offense. It isn't even offered. It's a curiosity, a desperation, a question for them to figure out their path, not yours. Even if that's the way it sounds, it's not about you. It's just their ignorance. They're not understanding, knowing, inculcating the language, the form of the Bodhisattva path. You're there to help them. When something feels personal, laugh. Just laugh. Not because it's funny, not because you're ridiculing, but because dispel the stress. Blah, blah, just get rid of it. It doesn't belong there. Those are the monkeys. That's samsara trying to distract you. Remain calm. Enjoy discussions about Buddhism. Always, always, always. All right, here's another source. From the Lion's Roar website, some of you may be familiar. As our children developed into their own little people who can exert their will and communicate with us, our notion of practice expands yet again, right? And the child analogy is used here, but somebody who's just learning about Buddhism or Nichiren doctrine is like a child. So the analogy is very apt. We are now interacting with another being much more intensively than anyone else, except perhaps our partner, than ever before. We find a need to understand the relational nature of practice and awakening. In essence, we make that critical shift from me to we. And I would go further, not from me to we, but to other, to you. The shift is to you. You shouldn't be thinking about me anymore, right? So I don't quite agree with this statement. As our children push us to engage with our community in new ways, that we, or they, expands further, and the we of a family unit becomes the we of a community. This opening of relationship leads to the felt sense of interconnectedness. The interconnectedness is something you should know already from your own practice. I think we is a trap. If your focus is on you, other, them, aren't you already there? How could you have that focus if you didn't exist? So don't think about me, we, think about them. That's Bodhisattva. So I don't agree with that. So here I go. After those two definitions. There is in most discourse across the World Wide Web a great deal of evidence pointing to a fundamental misconception of Buddhist teaching about attachment, craving, and clinging. Why do I suddenly talk about attachment, craving, and clinging? Because that's in the way of relationships. Our relationship, our parenting, our sovereigning, our teaching, like somehow the student, the child, the subject is somehow besmirching us. That's craving and clinging. That's control. Buddhism doesn't belong there. Shakyamuni repeated several times that we should build a sense of others, all sentient beings, as though they are in fact our only child. And he doesn't mean by that possessing an only child. He means how precious they are. What can we do to facilitate their life? This teaching is especially meant as guidance for the volition and dedication to propagation and the profound responsibility we undertake when we commit to leading others to the Buddha way. The question ultimately appears regarding attachment when discussing biological children. However, Shakyamuni makes no such distinction, and in fact uses that very example to deepen our understanding of interconnectedness with all sentient beings. The difficulty in understanding the complexities of love, responsibility, and teaching seems to contradict the idea of detachment, of nirvana, and samsara. And so then I go into attachment. Though this term is defined in Volume 1 of Buddhism Reference, this is an opportunity for a closer look from the perspective of parenting as a Buddhist concept of biological as well as associative parenting. The 9-month gestation period of a pregnancy in women is an intensely physical process, very samsaric. The nature of attachment between mother and child is the stuff of legend and folklore, due in large part to this physical gauntlet of joy and physical pain, to say nothing of the hormones and so on. For men, this relationship can seem a spectrum from amazement and appreciation to challenging and even intimidating or minimizing. Yeah. All this is to say that the relation of self and other is deeply heightened in the situation of parenting a biological child. So how does this example of parenting equate to the discussion of parenting in Buddhism? In the first several chapters of the Lotus Sutra, Shakyamuni spends a great deal of time describing the function and necessities of skillful means, or expedient devices. The ability to recognize the readiness and capacities of other minds is essential to teaching what is appropriate to the capacity of others. Just as one would not likely attempt to teach advanced chemistry formulae to a 3-year-old child, or ask a 40-year-old to recite the alphabet. So this training is directed to bodhisattva students to develop their compassion, their antennae, their insights, and their sensitivities in the capacities of others in order to become effective and successful teachers in the success of other students of Buddhism and the pursuit of the Buddha way. Right? Saying the same thing another way. Our focus is on the development of other, not egotistically. That's the hard part, to forget, right? To completely throw ourselves in the support, education, and guidance of other. Our merit will come from the effort. We don't need to look for it samsarically, right? We don't need a blue ribbon when we're done. We don't need our student to go, oh my God, you're everything. Yeah. Just do. The physical attachment is often greatly conflated with terms like love and caring. Yet upon deeper consideration, it is not the physical attachment of the child or student as thing or an owned possession. The reality of our relations are constructs of the sentient mind, samsara. Our mind experiences a profound commitment to the success, health, and development of the child, but this is not attachment. Rather, this is a depth of will, of commitment, of resolve that every parent feels strongly. To separate this well of resolve from ownershipness of other can seem counterintuitive and even strange at first, but this is exactly the true division line of samsaric delusions of possession versus our moment-to-moment engagement with the process of life. A much more profound element of being, quote unquote, and coexistence to recognize, see the engine of life in this book. This is the very aspect of our human interconnectedness that Shakyamuni wants us to recognize, but also to expand on in our endeavor to become bodhisattva mahasattvas. Makes sense, right? To develop our Buddhist parent, quote unquote, is to recognize our limitless capacity for love and compassion of all life, all sentient beings, as though there were no difference between them and us or our very first experience of bearing a child. Yeah, that intimate. That's our connectedness. This is also why Shakyamuni spends time in the initial chapters of the Lotus Sutra to caution us as to the capacity of those sentient minds that may be unprepared or unwilling to accept the potential changes and developments of Buddhist practice in their present states. Parenting should not be undertaken until one is prepared to fully take responsibility for the task. Though this is an ideal case, we are also reminded to teach to the best of our ability. Control what you can, be always aware. That's Namo Myoho Renge Kyo. So I hope that little definition, that little talk about parenting, helps open your mind about how to act course as a bodhisattva in this Saha world, right? Just be a living example. It starts with that. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for your support, keeping this resource growing, alive, happening. It's no small task. And your support, whether it's liking and subscribing, which helps grow the Sangha, to ebooks, print books, downloading the free podcasts. Lots of free information here, but it's not free at my end. I have to create the stuff, put up, pay the fees, blah, 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 blah. So any support you can give financially, whether it's purchasing, as I said, books or pay, through Patreon. You patrons are amazing. I couldn't do this without you, right? And some of you choose to donate through PayPal. Equally amazing. Thank you so much. In the meantime, the main thing here is confidence in your practice. Please keep your practice strong. Savor it. It's special. Make it special. Take care of your health, and I will see you in the next one. Bye for now.